in changing times and how our younger generation is changing and how the world is changing, I think we need an approach which augments your faith in any way possible. Whether that is working towards a logical approach, looking at the evidence, assessing it, historical significance of things, the existence of God, and how you come to that conclusion. So you can have lots of different factors and approaches to help you build that faith. उसमें लॉजिक भी आता है, उसमें फिर एविडेंशियल असेसमेंट ऑफ द सोर्स मटेरियल भी आता है, और इसमें ये सारी चीज़ें आ जाती हैं. Definitely there is an aspect of the unseen that you still have to get to, and you still have to believe in that. But I think how you approach it is not hard and fast कि एक ही तरीका है और बाकी should be discounted.
नहीं, ये एक तरीका तो नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर ऐसा होता तो मज़हब एग्जिस्ट ना करते. चार जो मेन मज़हब हैं वो इसी वजह से हैं कि ऑब्वियसली एक ही काम करने के मल्टीपल तरीके मौजूद हैं. जी साहिल.
I really don't understand the problem statement you're trying to solve here with logic. What you're saying is कि चूँकि पाकिस्तान दुनिया में जो मुस्लिम younger generation है वो चूँकि logically tuned है, they get exposure to a lot of other mediums against Islam. So what you need is to build a logical base around Islam, or what are you trying to actually get?
I'm saying logic has a base in Islam.
So why would that be a source of contention on this table?
Because generally speaking, the opinion that you get, mainstream opinion is, I don't know, you can elaborate further on what you think about it. But what you get from people is कि ये बस मानना है, ठीक है? ये मानने वाली बात है, इससे बस आपने मानना है, आंखें बंद करके मानने. उससे हो क्या रहा है? What's happening because of it is कि आपकी जो younger generation है, which is open to lots of different mediums that are hitting them in one go, including the media, including anti-theism, including atheism, neo-atheism. So you have people sort of questioning their faith, and you don't have the right approach to counter it, in which आप किसी के पास चले जाएं वो कहेंगे नहीं भाई ये ऐसे मानना होता है, ये लिखा हुआ है और ऐसे है. What I'm saying to that is कि an approach to counter it would be very logical and rational as well. जो अल्लाह ताला कहता भी है कुरान में बार बार कि for those who understand, for those who contemplate, for those who think. And it's so, I feel that Islam and Quran, in comparison to other religions, asks for a very rational approach and a very thought-provoking approach instead of a very blind following. Which
I think it's on the contrary. Islam, out of all religion or philosophy, let's just say, sets its base on the belief rather than logic. I don't know why we don't dissect this word belief carefully, or more often, or often enough to actually build up a parenting model. See, whenever I see the young generation which is exposed to Dawkins and Hawkins and all of those philosophers who are trying to get an evidential approach towards believing in the deity, I actually start to question of where they were born. I mean, I can understand that if you're born a Judeo-Christian, under a Judeo-Christian culture or a household or influence of that philosophy. I know for a fact that Muslim households are deeply influenced by the Judeo-Christian flaws, and a lot of miscarriage of the philosophy has happened. We have to accept that. Otherwise, there is no way that I can actually say that I can logically prove Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence. You know what I'm saying? You can only see the evidences that there is something that is that has done all of that. And that's what Allah Ta'ala is saying in the Quran. What do you think? You are the center of the universe? Why don't you look around you and see if you see anything manly or humanly at the base of creation? But has it ever convinced anybody? No. No, it hasn't. But what it has done is, see, you have to look at the whole 9 yards, the whole bigger spectrum, get all the light inside our camera. the race towards the truths, with whatever intent that they have, has been expedited by this word logic, even though this word logic has changed its shape throughout the history of time. We can call out those people blatantly stupid, who were the most logical people of their times. You know, who used to think the earth is flat, who used to think the sun earth revolves around the sun revolves around the earth. We know that for a fact now, by whatever means that we got to know. So what I don't know where this arrogance comes from in all of the people who all of a sudden start to believe that they are, number one, the center of the universe. Whatever they've achieved is not to be contested because they've just outranked the people of the past. Now I understand that they have corrected a lot of things, but why are we actually so obtuse in thinking that 100 years from now every single theory of science will be disproven? Why can't we be open to this? So what I'm saying is the very basis of this word logic, the construct of this word, has a very arrogant flavor in this. So, but since we're here, we're not in the future, let's talk about this right now. I understand that. I'm just trying to correct the philosophy and the psychology based on that philosophy. So number one, if we start to chase this logical tree, does it lead to anything that is going to make us see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Of course not.
So
The very basis of a belief is that
how do you get to that point to say that we will not reach that logical conclusion?
First of all, because the word ghaib in Islam is a very, very deeply embedded psychological construct.
I'm not contesting that point.
Yeah, I know you're not, but you're saying
What I'm
you
saying
have a
is
lot
that-
of logic around it.
What I'm saying is, why don't we have other means to achieve a goal? There's no
The
specific
goal of what?
So-
Seeing the unseen?
the goal of achieving faith, which also includes the
See,
unseen.
the word faith itself, you're a doctor. Perform a little bit of a
but-
surgery on this word
yeah,
faith.
but the condescension won't help it.
No, what I'm
saying
saying
is
no,
that-
I'm not being condescending. And what I'm saying is, open up this little nucleus of faith. You'll find there is no evidence in faith. That's why we call it faith.
No, but what I'm saying is, for you to take that stance, let's say, you need to establish where and how you say that it is forbidden to use this approach.
In the basis of philosophy, I'll tell you. It's a very good question. Sorry. The very basis of philosophy of Islam, through this word ghaib, is that if you actually get to see Allah, then there is no point of doing any good. That's the very basis of our philosophy. But we're actually pushing our younger lot to find all the traces of Allah and try and get to see Him. Then there's no faith in there. You know what that is? That's evidence. There's no faith. Faith requires no
But
evidence. It has no eyes.
Evidence points you towards a certain direction, towards
Sure, I'm
achieving
not
that faith.
denying that. What I'm saying is, let's not ride the high horse of logic and try and see or make up an illusion of an end in mind which is not going to be there. If there was
What
ever
end do you mean?
to look at the very sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Nobody's saying that. What
What else do you think is the big war going on around us?
What I'm saying is that
The very basis of atheism is the handicap of the believers of not putting Allah on the table. You know what I'm saying? We won't be able to do that. And thank God we're not going to be able to do that. That's the only religion that we follow, which says if we were to show ourselves, we would have shown ourselves to the Prophet ﷺ when he went upstairs in the Mi'raj. And at that time, he did not reveal himself unto the Prophet ﷺ. So what? See, this is the very basis of our philosophy. We're not going to be able to put any sort of picture in front of Allah.
so maybe we're
In front of the atheist.
maybe
or
we're
non-
talking in two different tangents here.
Really, I think we are on the same page here.
Really,
What you're trying to achieve is an objective, which I think is not going to be able to be achieved through the means
I
of
don't
logic.
mean the 100% of it will be achieved through just purely one mean. What I'm saying is that you may have to use certain means to augment that and to reach
to the
that
believers.
objective.
Yeah, for the
To
believers.
or disbelievers alike.
But no, see, that's the problem here. A disbeliever, if he's requiring evidence, is going to stop at a certain point. He's going to say, all you're showing me is science.
I'm not